Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in. I'm your instructor Joy. Today we're going to talk about vibrato. How do we know when it's the right time to start learning the vibrato technique? For ourselves or as an instructor for our students, when do we know? There are some people say you should have learned so-and-so number of years. Some people say you should have learned how to play higher positions. When is the right time? Could we have some kind of guideline or do we need to have played a certain period of time? Those are all very valuable questions. And sooner or later, we all have to, or we all want to learn the vibrato because we all know vibrato is one of those important technique that makes our play more beautiful and also can be used as an expressive tool. But before I go into that, I would like to thank you all for your continued support. I really appreciate for your kind comments, questions, donations, booking lessons with me. I also encourage you to check out my Patreon page, which the link can be found in the description below. I'll be posting every Thursdays another video. This coming Thursday, I'll be posting very first step that you can do when it comes to double stops. All right, back to vibrato. How do we know? Do we have to play a certain number of years, or do we have to play the third positions or any other higher positions? In my opinion, rather than sticking to a certain period of time, I use a guidance of the technical position or technical stand that my student has. For example, I'm going to give you a couple of things that you can check to see either for yourself or your student is ready to learn the vibrato. First, understand when we vibrate, whether it's a wrist vibrato, arm vibrato, or finger vibrato, the left hand should be somewhat free. So you should be able to hold your violin only with your shoulder and your neck. So you should be able to let go of your violin and the violin should still stay somewhat stable. There's a small percentage that we help the holding the violin with the left hand slightly, very slightly, but most of the violin holding job should be done with the shoulder and the neck. Of course, there are exceptions, and there are sometimes when we adjust violin, we hold the violin completely with the left hand, or here and there are moments, but most of the time, you should be able to hold your violin only with your chin and shoulder so that your left hand is completely free. Because if you hold your violin with your hand like that, your hand is already stuck and it's going to be one of the biggest obstacles when it comes to mastering vibrato. That's number one that you should have. Number two, to see whether your left hand position, meaning hand, wrist and arm, is healthy or in a proper position in a healthy and proper way. Meaning the left arm should place under the violin, not sticking to any side. Of course, there are always exceptions, but I'm talking generally speaking. So left arm's under the violin, and then hand turn slightly so that all four fingers are lined as a string. Yeah, it's very important. Make sure that you're not squeezing any part, especially we have some violins have tendency of squeezing between thumb and then index finger. Make sure you're holding it nicely and make sure you have a little room between your neck and hand, which is the same idea, so that your left hand is free and relaxed to vibrate. That's the second one. And that's basically one of the two big things that I see. And last one, see if you have a little more finger independence of the left hand. Yeah, being able to move your finger anywhere you like it. Of course, you don't have to be able to play perfectly in tune. We're gonna get there, but we're talking about very first step of learning the vibrato technique. So see if you can lift up each finger freely. The best way of checking is see if you can trill. So trill is basically it does not have to be the perfect trill yet, but as long as you can move each finger in a trill way, that means that that's a good indication showing your left finger. So left hand is somewhat independent enough. And that's a good indication to know you're ready to go into the vibrato technique. And some say you must know how to play higher positions. In this case, it's good to, if you know already how to play higher positions, such as third, fourth, fifth, and so on. But unless you're playing wrist vibrato, it's not necessarily a must. because the wrist vibrato starts in the third position because you start resting your wrist on the rib of the violin and rocking your hand backwards. That's how we teach for the that's how we teach the wrist vibrato. For that reason, the third position is important. But arm vibrato or finger vibrato, that's not necessary. I personally prefer my students to start with arm vibrato, which is the hardest one. But once you start with the arm vibrato, which gives you a little more range and types of vibrato, and also you can always apply later wrist vibrato and finger vibrato, which is not as hard as arm vibrato. So do we have to have the third position mastered? Only if you're doing only wrist vibrato. Now some say you must have mastered the bow control completely. Again, having mastered the bow, how to produce beautiful tones is a good thing, but it's not a must. It's a plus, but it's not a prerequisite. It's not a must in order to learn how to, or in order to start learning the vibrato. So the reason why one say that you have to know how to produce big sound is because vibrato is all about multitasking. So while we move our left hand this way, we have to draw the sound. So it's not about knowing how to produce good sound, even though that's a good thing. It's more knowing how to coordinate both sound, both left and right. Yeah. So like while doing like that. So of course, don't get me wrong, I'm all for playing with a beautiful tone, but that's not a must, but it would be a good point to have it. Yeah. So there you have it. 3 things. Make sure you know how to hold your violin without any help of your left hand, so that your left hand is free to start vibrating. Number 2, make sure your left arm and left hand is positioned nice and healthy. And number 3, see if your fingers are nice and independent. So good indication would be see if you can trill each finger. Yeah. So I hope this gave you some ideas when it comes to know when to start learning vibrato or when to teach the vibrato technique to your students. Thank you for watching and hope to see you again. Bye bye.